Now that we have the new Redmi Pad 2, how does it compare to the Redmi Pad SE, and what are the differences? Well, let's talk about it. Pricing is going to be a little bit different depending on what country you're in, but the Redmi Pad 2 is a little more expensive versus the Redmi Pad SE, but it still starts around $250, so pretty affordable. You get the same storage options at 128 or 256 gigabytes. You also have 4, 6, or 8 gigabytes of RAM, depending on which storage option you go with for both tablets. You can also use a micro SD card to expand the storage on both tablets. So that's always nice to see. Build quality is very similar between the two. You can see they have a little bit different style cameras on the back. They both definitely feel a little better than you would expect considering the price. Both tablets have an 11-inch IPS LCD display. Interesting thing is, the Redmi Pad 2 is supposed to be a little brighter at 500 nits versus 400 for the SE. But when you put them next to each other, sometimes the SE actually looks a little bit brighter. So I don't know if the Redmi Pad 2 is only that bright when you change it to outdoor mode, but in person they're actually really similar. Again, sometimes even brighter on the SE. Overall, both of these have pretty nice screen quality, especially considering the price. Now, there's a lot of variables when it comes to battery life, but when I ran the same battery drain test at 100% screen brightness, the Redmi Pad 2 actually lasted an hour longer than the SE at 9 hours versus 8 hours for the SE. Either way though, both of these should last a couple days with the mixed use, even longer once you turn the screen brightness down. Now you can see the software on these two are almost identical, considering both of these are on Android 15, Hyper OS 2. You get 2 years major software updates, 3 years security updates on both tablets, but considering the SE is already on Android 15, probably not going to get any more major software updates, where the newer Redmi Pad 2 is starting out with Android 15, so obviously it's going to get longer software support. For now, things are going to be pretty similar, and they've got similar features. It may just come down to how important software and security updates are. Now, performance-wise, the Redmi Pad 2 is going to be a little better in pretty much all categories, as you can see by the Geekbench results, which this is one area where the Redmi Pad SE could be improved. Now, keep in mind, I have the 8 gigabytes of RAM version for the Redmi Pad 2 versus only 4 gigabytes for the Redmi Pad SE. I know playing games like PUBG Mobile and Asphalt Legends Unite was a little bit more of a struggle on the SE tablet. Also keep in mind, neither one of these is going to be the most powerful out there, but the Redmi Pad 2 has a nice increase in performance over the previous version. Nice thing is, both of these tablets have a headphone jack, which you don't really see much anymore. You've got 2 speakers on each side with Dolby Atmos for both, and I feel like they sound pretty similar. Here's a quick sample of each, just to give you an idea of how they sound. Now, when it comes to cameras, I think the Redmi Pad 2 is a little better than the SE, even though they both have an 8 megapixel rear facing camera, 5 megapixel on the front. It also uses some AI stuff to make the cameras look better as well, which I can tell it definitely helps. You can also shoot up to 1080p resolution, 30 frames per second for video recording on both of these. But here's a quick sample of each, just to give you an idea of how they compare. As you can see, the Redmi Pad 2 has some nice advantages over the Redmi Pad SE, and it doesn't really cost that much more. So for me, I think it's a pretty easy comparison on which one is the better option, even though I think the screen on the Redmi Pad SE actually looks a little brighter sometimes. But considering the Redmi Pad 2 is newer, so it's going to get longer software updates, it's also more powerful and has better battery life, which is really nice to see considering the price. But if you like tablets, phones, and other tech, I've got a lot more stuff that I'm working on as usual, so you'll want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from FishBee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.